Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my March mid-month wrap-up to share with you. I have 15 books to talk about in this mid-month wrap-up. I basically read a book a day, which is pretty good. That's what it averaged out to. For some statistics so far this month, I've had 4 physical books, 6 ebooks, and 5 audiobooks. For a breakdown of genre and star rating, I had 13 contemporary romances, 1 novella, and 1 dark romance. For a breakdown of star rating, I had 3 5-star reads, 3 4.5-star reads, 5 4-star reads, 2 3.5-star reads, and 2 3-star reads. So let's just go ahead and jump into all the books that I read so far in March. Now, the first 3 books that I'm going to talk about all together, and that is the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I did read the Off-Campus series for a vlog for you guys. I do know that there's 4 books. If you watch that vlog, you know that I DNF'd the last book. That's why I'm only talking about 3 books in this mid-month wrap-up, but I'll have my vlog linked in the cards and the description box so you can go check out all my thoughts. But just a kind of really quick recap, I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. This was a reread because I did read these books. Well, I did read this book. I didn't continue on with the series, which is why I did the vlog. So it was still a good reread, 4.5 stars. Love Garrett. The next one is The Mistake, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. This was not my favorite. I did not like the time jump thing. I felt like it was weird, but the groveling in this book was really, really good. So I'll give it that. I do love Logan. And I did read The Score, which is Dean and Allie's book, and I give this one 4.5 stars. This one was really good. I liked Dean and Allie as a couple. I like the growth that Allie did. So yeah, you can go check out all my thoughts. It was a fun vlog. I go to a hockey game and I do my makeup for you guys because you guys are always asking that. I did continue on with some more hockey romances, and I read Bittersweet Heart by H. Hunting or Helena Hunting. I read the ebook for this and I gave it 4 stars. So I have read Little Lies, which is the first book in this series. Basically, it is a second generation to the All In series. So that's like A Lie for a Lie, A Favor for a Favor. This series, I forgot what it's called, is their kids. So this is the second book, and it is an age gap romance with an older woman, younger man. It's not like a huge age gap, but she is his professor, but they have a little summer thing at his lake house that she's also staying at a different lake house, and you know, they have this like hookup, and then he goes to class once school starts and realizes she is like the fill-in professor for someone. So yeah, they are keeping it a secret. He does play hockey. He's very swoon-worthy. I just felt like it was a little long, and the execution of all the things that she was trying to do like wasn't exactly like right. With this series, I feel like she's going more emotional and it's working. I've given Little Lies 4 stars too, but I just felt like there was something missing just a little bit, so I couldn't give it a full 5 stars, but I would highly recommend this. I wish there was more hockey in it because it's considered a hockey romance. I would just consider it like a new adult college contemporary romance because there's not that much hockey in it, because I mean, like, she does go to 1 game, but it's not, like, prevalent, you know what I mean? But I did read Even If It Hurts by Marnie Mann. So, yes, Even If It Hurts by Sam Mariano. They have the same name, so I always get confused. But I read this, and I gave it 5 stars. This is a pretty short audiobook. It's like 7 hours or something, and it is a love triangle. There's trigger warnings for cheating in this book, and I only read this because I saw, well, it's been on my radar because Cheyenne at That Child Book Girl loved this book. She did a bookshelf tour, and she showed the cover, and I was like, that cover's gorgeous. My hoopla had the audio, but then McKay from Oh Hey It's McKay was reading it, and she was like, I'm sobbing. I love this. Yeah, it was so good. I really loved it. It was a good love triangle. I've had a lot of emotions, so I don't want to talk about like who she ends up with or anything like that, but I had a lot of emotions. I loved characters. I hated characters. I switched back and forth. It was a whole wild mess when I was listening to this book, and I had such a great time, so that was definitely a 5-star read for me. Then I read Reverse Pass by Maggie Rawdon. I read this on my Kindle, so I had the ebook of it. It's in Kindle Unlimited, and this is a football romance, but it's light on the football. I would just consider it a contemporary romance, even though he does play football, but he's on a suspension for a month. And he gets kicked out of the football housing. Basically, he throws a party and he takes the fall for it. So they, instead of suspending the whole team and having the team like lose out on games and stuff like that, he just takes the fall for it. And I will say that I really love this one. It is another older woman, younger man. I don't know what's up with me. I've just been picking them up and loving them, like not looking out for them. But she has been his like childhood crush. So He is her best friend's little brother, younger brother. So her best friend calls her and is like, hey, do you mind if, like, you know, my brother stays in this extra room that you have? I know you just got out of a breakup and he's like he's like in Europe or something, studying abroad. Do you mind if he uses this room? He got suspended. He doesn't have anywhere to stay for the rest of the semester. And she's like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And when I tell you, it was very, very fun. I gave it 4 stars. It was just a really fun read. It was short, it was sweet, it was fun. I just had a really good time with it. She's reading romance books and he like goes into her room to hang out and starts reading them and reads them out loud while she does things. And it was so good. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed it. Is it the best like writing and stuff like that? No, but this is my first book by this author and I definitely want to pick up more. I already have one downloaded on my Kindle in this series because I loved the chemistry between the characters. I just like couldn't stop reading. Then I read Love You Always by Ava Hunter. So me and my friend Jess at Peace Love Books, we did a read along of the Nashville Star series. That's already over. There's 4 books in that series, but there is a novella that's like 2.5. So before I picked up the 3rd book, I wanted to read this and I gave it 4 stars. This is just going back to the first couple in the series, Luke and, what's her name? Sal, and just seeing how she's pregnant in the 3rd and 4th book in the series, and you see like everything that kind of happens, and it was cute. I like them. That's one of my favorite couples in the series, so I did give that one 4 stars. Now I did continue on with the 3rd book, which is Need You Now by Ava Hunter, and I gave this 3 stars. This is my least favorite in the series. This is definitely not small town. It is a enemies to lovers kind of a thing. It's his best friend's sister, Sal's sister technically, and I just feel like they didn't have any chemistry. Like in the previous books when we saw them, I felt like they had a lot of chemistry, but then we got into their book and he goes to LA where she is living to help her out because she's injured, she gets mugged and she gets stabbed, so someone has to help her. Sal can't go because she's like really, really pregnant, and so she doesn't want to go. So Seth goes for her, and they do have like a lot of emotional talks. I just didn't feel like there was like any connection as I did with the other book. So I did give this one 3 stars, but one of my favorites is Bring You Back by Ava Hunter, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. It would have been a 4-star if not for the 3rd act breakup in this book, which, authors, you don't have to put a 3rd act breakup in every single book. This would have been like a 4.5-star read for me because it's a marriage in crisis and you really get to see Jace and Emmylou's kind of like coming back to each other and finding their way back to each other after spending basically the summer, so 3 months together at her family farm. And I just really, really loved it, but the 3rd act breakup ruined it because it was so stupid and so pointless, and it was literally just to cause a rift. Like, she could have cut almost 100 pages off and had such a sweet marriage and trouble coming back to each other romance. So yeah, 3.5 stars. But we do have live shows on those books if you want to go check them out. One's on my channel, one's on Jess's channel. And then I moved on to Rush by Emma Scott, and I gave this book 4 stars. This is a contemporary romance. So my friend Sam from Sam Reads Little, she read this and she was like, this is I think her only 5-star read of the year. And I was like, oh my God, I love Emma Scott. I'm so ready. I did not know that the hero in this book is blind. And I love a disability representation. And let me tell you, he is so grumpy for reasons. Like the reason why he's blind, he is an adventure seeker. He writes for this magazine. And he's, I want to say, like scaling a mountain. I don't know what the right word or term for it is. It's kind of like what Reich does from the Addicted series. I don't know. There's just like adventure seeking, adrenaline seeking people. And he falls and he has not a concussion, but he has like a brain injury that leaves him blind. And because of that, he's gone through rehab and all this stuff like that. And his sight has not come back, and our female character is actually working at a diner that he frequently orders food from, and she's supposed to deliver it one day, and she like goes in and like he's super mean to her, and basically he hires her to be his like assistant to help him out, like maid live in with him so he can, you know, have someone there for him. And I personally love this book. I thought it was great. I gave it 5 stars. I was like crying before 50% of the book because I was just like so connected to these characters. And yeah, it was a little bit longer. It was a little bit on the longer side, but Emma Scott knows how to just drag you in with emotions and makes you feel so attached to these characters. And I personally loved it. Like, I think it was absolutely fantastic, and I would highly suggest this one. Then I went back. So not that I was feeling slumpy, I don't know what the right word was, but like sometimes newer releases or newer books just don't do it for me. I go back to like 2015, 2016 and stuff like that, and I picked up On Dublin Street. So I've had this on my shelf. I was looking up something like Goodreads list for different books, and I was like, I found this one. I was like, oh, I have this one. It's actually behind other books on my shelves. Let me get the audiobook. I cried in this book. I loved this book. What did I give it? 4.5 stars? Yeah, I gave this book 4.5 stars. It was a little bit on the longer side. The beginning was a little slow, but I always love it when both characters have trauma or like PTSD from their past and past issues to work through, and they can kind of work them out together. I love Brayden. He was a billionaire. He has a lot of money. He likes to throw that money around. That's like my candy, you know, like check that box, you know what I mean? She is a strong female character that does not take any shit from Brayden. Joss is like this. She has damage, but she's like trying to work through it, and she can kind of recognize things, and she's living on Dublin Street in Scotland, and he's Scottish, and it was just a great time. I listened to the audiobook and I read along. I loved it. I had such a great time. I'm so glad I have this and I read this. I want to go back and read some more by Samantha Young because I haven't explored a lot of her books. But then I read Right Man, Right Time by Megan Quinn. And this is the star, like one of the 5-star reads. I've had 3 5-star reads so far, and that's huge. But let me just say, this was a 5-star surprising read. So I saw QB Tyler reading this, which she is the queen of taboo, right? But she was like, this is fake dating, age gap. He's 10 years older. He's super grumpy. She's like not sunshiny, but their banter is so good. And I was like, fucking sold. So I got the audiobook. When I tell you, I listened to this and I was laughing out loud. I was so connected. I was so in tune to what they were doing, what the story was going on. It's dual narration, which I think changed the game for me. It was such a good book. And if you know me, I have said Megan Quinn is not for me countless times. But for some reason, I really enjoyed this one. And Cheyenne and Sam, who've read the other 2 books in the series, love those books. And they haven't read this one yet. And I was like, who am I? I'm loving a Megan Quinn book. Like, what is happening right now? I did go back and read Kiss and Don't Tell, which is Pacey and Winnie's story. I didn't even tell you Right Man, Right Time. It follows Silas. He is recently out of a very long-term relationship. After like 12 years, he catches his girlfriend cheating right before he's going to propose. And our female character, I forgot her name. What is her name? Ollie. She goes up to him in a bar because her ex is there with her nemesis and they're dating. She goes up to him and was like, I'm so sorry. I said I was dating you and I'm going to kiss you in like 5 seconds. So she gives him 5 seconds and she kisses him and he's like, what the hell is going on? So he also is starting the new season for the NHL team that he's on. So he's like, well, I mean, she's going to use me to help, you know, make her ex jealous. I guess I'll do the same because his ex now works for the hockey team, like in corporate and stuff like that. So it's a mutual thing. But with Kiss and Don't Tell, Pacey and Winnie are there. We do see them in that book, which was really cute. And I gave it 4 stars. For some reason, Right Man, Right Time was just so funny. The like comics, the comedic stuff really hit with me and I loved it. I didn't find that this one was as funny. I could find myself like going in and out of like, not consciousness, what's the word? Like going in and out of like focusing on the book with Don't Kiss and Don't Tell. So that's why I gave it 4 stars, but it was really good. I don't know if I'm going to go back and read the first one like recently. I think I might wait to see what the next book's going to be about. I think it's the second book in the series, A Surprise Pregnancy, which isn't my favorite, but Cheyenne said she likes it because she doesn't like that either, but I do want to give it a try. And then I read Kingdom Fall by A. Zavarelli, and to be honest, this one was a huge disappointment. I was really hooked for the first 25 to 30% of this book. I got this as a recommendation from Ava, from Ava's Romance Reads, and she pitched it as our female character has a throat injury and she does not speak. It's very painful for her too, so she uses ASL, which once again, I love disability rep, right? And I love that representation of ASL in here. But there was just, I felt like it was a very quick moving. She becomes a nanny for Alessio, who is a organized crime kind of like torturer, what is the word? He like questions people to get answers or whatever, and for like the society that he's a part of. And this is part of like a bigger series. You don't have to read that. I didn't feel confused. Like you get whatever information you need. I just felt like it moved too fast. There was a lot of secrets that came out that I was like, this does not make sense to me. And so it was a 3-star read. I do like A. Zavarelli's writing, which is why I gave it 3 stars. It was just like the content. Now, the disability rep and all that, the ASL rep, that was really good. I thought it was done really, really well. I just didn't like the plot that she kind of went with that. So yeah. And the last book that I read and I just finished today before filming is Real by Katie Evans. So I've had this one on my shelves for a while and Sam told me that I would love this. This one is a boxer romance. He's not boxer. MMA. He fights in the underground fighting rink and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, that's my stuff. There is another book in this series or something like that. That's their kid, which is called Racer, which is a Formula One driver, which is who I want to read next. But this one, while it's old, definitely dated. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely dated. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It is a lot spicier than I was expecting, but I really like the story. Also, he has bipolar disorder, which I did not know going into this book. And I thought the rep of that was really, really good. I wish she expanded on it more, but given that it was written in 2012 when not many people were writing disability and chronic illnesses and mental illnesses and stuff like that, I give it to her for doing that and taking that step, considering when this was published. And I think it was a solid representation of that. He has bipolar, and it shows where he goes manic, where he gets low and stuff like that. And I personally really, really loved it. I love their story. He is completely obsessed with her, like completely. He will literally kill anyone. And I love a fighter. They literally fight for everything in their life. They've always had to fight, and they continuously fight. And I just love that because it transitions, or it goes into their romance too. Like it filters into their romance too. And I loved it. Oh, 4 stars. It was actually a really, really fun time. But those are the 15 books that I've read so far in March. You can drop me like a clover emoji, a 4-leaf clover, a green heart, because today, when you're seeing this, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm wearing green, even though I'm filming this like 2 days before St. Patrick's Day. Anyway, drop me a green emoji, preferably a 4-leaf clover, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content from me. As always, I hope you're living out life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.